Hey guys, Just Nerds here, and today I will be giving you my top 5 Pokemon starters. Now these 5 can come from any of the generations, including Generation 6. So I will be stating my list and giving you a few sentences on why I chose the starters that I did. And just to clarify, this is strictly my own personal opinion, and these are not the best starters, just my favorite ones. With all that explained, let's start. Number 5. This was actually the biggest surprise for me. While I do like all the starters to a degree, I didn't think I would have one from Generation 6 on this list. Now for Pokemon Y, I actually chose Fennekin, and while I did like him, I regretted not getting Froakie. Froakie has a great design that simply gets better and better until he evolves to his final form, Greninja, who is so cool. I mean, he is a ninja frog with a tongue scarf, and his Pokédex entry says that he can throw ninja stars out of compressed water that can even split metal in two. Just too cool. He has become so popular in fact that he has gotten his own place in the new Super Smash Bros. And he is awesome in that as well. Plus, Greninja is the fastest water type ever, and that's pretty amazing. However, he isn't the original ninja Pokemon, but we will get to that later. Number 4. This is actually another water type. It is in fact my favorite water type starter. That is Squirtle. Again, I did not get Squirtle in my original playthrough of Fire Red, but instead chose Charmander. I do not regret choosing Charmander in the slightest, but over the years, I have gained a lot of love for Squirtle. Actually, since I already had 2 fire types on my main team in Pokemon Y, I chose Squirtle as my Generation 1 starter when they give you that choice. He eventually became the powerful Blastoise and became a huge ally in my team. Also, his twin cannons are unbelievable. They are so powerful that they can even cut steel. That's insane. A great design with great attack and defense makes Blastoise a real classic. Number 3. Generation 4 was a great generation. We got great gym leaders, a great villain, a great region, and some amazing Pokemon, including the 3 starters. They all had great designs, but when it was finally my time to choose between the 3, I chose the cute Turtwig and found out just how amazing he was. I loved every stage in his evolution as he got bigger and bigger until he became the huge Strattera. Known as the continent Pokemon, he is big enough to carry small Pokemon and be their home. That's enormous. Despite being a more defensive Pokemon, he can be a real challenge on the battlefield, having a grass and ground type. This makes Strattera good against a vast number of Pokemon types, which allows for some creative strategy on the battlefield, making him a real threat. Number 2. Now this Pokemon is probably the most nostalgic on this list, as it was my very first Pokemon. This starter carried me through battle after battle, gym after gym, until it became a true Pokemon partner. This nostalgic Pokemon is Charmander. Yes, while I know Charmander was the starter almost everyone chose, that doesn't change my thoughts on him in the least. Whenever my back was against a corner, Charmander would always have my back. Even against the early gyms of Rock and Water, Charmander and I never gave up, reaching all the way to the Pokemon League, where we became true champions. As a Charizard, he is a pure powerhouse, having high special attack and speed stats, demolishing anyone in his way, especially when he has Blast Burn, which incinerates any opponent. And despite some of my complaints, I do also love both of his Mega Evolutions, my favorite being his Y form. Being the Pokemon who started my Pokemon journey, it's no wonder why he made the number 2 spot. However, there is still one starter who reigns above the rest in my heart. Number 1. As you might have guessed, my favorite Pokemon starter is the true original ninja Pokemon, Trico. When I got Pokemon Emerald, there was no contest of who I wanted to pick. I thought Trico's design was so cool in the original, and he only got cooler with each evolution. up to him becoming a Sceptile. I loved how he really was like a ninja Pokemon. He is actually the fastest non-legendary grass-type Pokemon ever, which is very impressive. In Emerald, Sceptile was always the Pokemon that I knew I could rely on with his very useful Leaf Blade attack. With his speed, Sceptile could always guarantee that he would strike first, making him a great partner while going through the Hoenn region. When we finally reached the Pokemon League, Sceptile was my trump card as he went through Pokemon after Pokemon, fighting to the best of his abilities. And when I finally beat the champion Steven, Sceptile was the last one standing, proving that he was the one I could always rely on. Sceptile isn't just my favorite starter, but one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. So that concludes my list. Like I said, this is strictly my personal list and should not be taken as fact. I know Blake already asked you what your top 5 starters are, but if you didn't post on his video, post on here in the comments. We would love your response. So that's it. Comment, like, and subscribe. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to our second channel, Just Nerds 2, to get our full content such as our Cartoon Network discussion that we have planned for you all. I'll leave a link in the description below, and we hope to see you all there. Later, guys.